Hey there, guys. This is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tosca, and I literally just got back from seeing Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F in the theaters. And today being August 11th, I know I'm a little late on it. Sorry about that. I was having to schedule with AJ and Troy to see it. We had to work around, different schedules, and that's why we were so late in seeing it. I know a lot of people, most people probably saw it um, the week before, or fans who are as hardcore, if not more hardcore than me, probably saw it at Anime Expo or even in Japan or LA or any of the other screenings of it, also indicating that they have more money than I do. But that's not important. What is important is that I too have seen this movie and I'm going to review it for you guys. Though to start off with, to sort of like kind of set the stage, I guess, and I'm going to be going over the plot throughout the review. I'm going to probably do that first and then get to the actual review part. This movie, for no other purpose than to just simply identify it, this is basically the Freeza Comes Back to Life movie, which at first I was kind of skeptical on the whole thing because since, well, for one, they have already brought back Freeza during the Trunks saga where he was a Mecha Frieza, which I know that that whole thing was just to introduce Trunks as well as a bit of foreshadowing towards the androids, in my opinion, because of Mecha Frieza's mechanical cyborg body. So this idea kind of at first came off to me as being kind of stale and not overdone, but I feel like it was done too soon, and because even though this one's of a grander scale, it didn't really seem like that big a deal to me. I do think it's a good idea, because Frieza is probably Goku's biggest nemesis. And I felt like if you're going to bring someone back from the dead, I mean, the tagline for the friggin' movie was the worst wish in history, or at least in the teasers it was. Frieza would probably be the best choice. But then once the trailer came out, my hype just went up. And I was like, holy crap. And even like the cast we're talking about, how, Akira Toriyama was like really involved and really like taking the series as his own, and he was really surprising the cast. So there's a lot of hype and expectations, though I don't know how I was able to kind of keep mine in sort of like a base level, accept it for what it is, kind of, and just kind of take it an absent-minded approach, considering I also read some spoilers, because I just cannot handle not knowing things. But basically, I did enjoy it, but as far as the why, I'm going to get to that. So yeah, my hype went up after I saw the actual trailer for it, which was posted all over the internet. Like, even IGN and, like, Anime News Network and probably Silicon Era. Like, basically, everyone who was a fan of Dragon Ball Z and followed anime news knew about this movie. And except for the people who I addressed who didn't know when I said that this was the Frieza's Coming Back movie. But basically, like, anyone who cared knew about the movie. And I feel, on some level, I kind of feel like Funimation kind of probably felt like they couldn't really get away with letting it like sweep under the rug and delay a dub, because so many people knew about it, whereas Battle of Gods was a little, not many people knew about it because it wasn't being talked about as much. I mean, there were some videos, but I feel like here, and it's probably also because of Battle of Gods' success, and as of the recording of this, I think this movie's reached like the 9th or the 8th top selling anime movie in North America, beating out like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And even a couple Studio Ghibli movies, which I think that's actually really cool. I really hope we can get it to at least number 1 or something. It's made a hell of a lot of money. But yeah, so thankfully Funimation decided to bring out the dub and put it in theaters sooner than later, and hopefully this will mean that with the success of this movie, hopefully they'll do an actual, not limited release of the movie and let it be in every fucking theater, because that still bothered me. I don't care if this is a niche franchise and a niche medium. It needs to happen. I don't know who to blame, Toei, Funimation, or 20th Century Fox, but who distributed the movie. But anyway, yeah, that's the basic sort of like identifier for this movie. But the actual story itself and the plot, it starts off with showing Freeza in hell, and put that with air quotes, because his hell, which for those who believe that that hell is everyone's personal version of hell, which that's I feel like that would be probably a good way to. It's like a personal hell, or I don't know, or maybe that's just the hell for everyone. He's in like this cocoon thing, hanging from a tree with all like these teddy bears and fairies like flying around, being like, "Give me a hug." And he's like, "I hate this. No." It's kind of funny. It's definitely like a pretty easy, a quick way to get us fans to laugh. And I liked how they opened with humor that way, in hindsight. Because overall, this movie was actually was more serious and more actiony, and Akira Toriyama designed it that way, I think. And then it shows remnants of Frieza's forces. Sorbet, who's like the short blue guy, and obviously the name Sorbet coming from sorbet, the ice cream thing. Personally, more of a sherbet fan myself, but anyway. Then also Tagoma, who's like another member, and of course his name coming from tamago, which is the Japanese word for egg, something you put in the fridge, as with the theme of Frieza's name. And there's also a guy named Shisami, who's sort of like the buff kind of warrior and whatnot. I like his general design, though I almost kind of wish he actually had like a ox face. I was almost kind of expecting that. I think just because of the horns. But he's sort of like the elite warrior. And Sorbet compares Tagoma and Shisami to Zarbon and Dodoria. And he even goes out to say like they were probably even stronger than both of them in their prime. I think he says in their peak, but and they're looking for the Dragon Balls to bring back Frieza, because they want to like bring back Frieza so like they can continue like taking over the planets and be dictators, because that's what Frieza is. He's basically an intergalactic dictator. J-Stars, I didn't mention this in the I don't think, but in the J-Stars book for the Frieza bio, they call him an emperor as well. But at any rate, so they were like, they were gonna go to Namek to get the Dragon Balls there, but like, we can't find it, and so they just decided to go to Earth, and they check to see if anyone's already looking for the Dragon Balls, but they see that Emperor Pilaf and Shu, or Xiao as they call him in this, and Mai are already gathering the Dragon Balls, and they already have like 6 out of the 7, and so that they don't show like exactly how they managed to pull this off. I imagine Super might clarify some of this, but they basically like team up. They kind of do a little bit of the King Piccolo thing, where Emperor Pilaf and his gang are helping King Piccolo. I'm talking in the past. Like in the past, he helped King Piccolo get the Dragon Balls and wish for his youth back. But then it's kind of like that, and that was, I'll be honest, that might come across like you might think that I might criticize that because, like, again, it's another reuse idea, but that I actually kind of liked. I kind of liked that Emperor Pilaf is sort of back into the series. And with the whole kid thing, that's sort of like a reference to GT, and I kind of like that it's being used in a humorous way. But so they gather the Dragon Balls, and they quickly show Piccolo rocking Pan in like a little basket, like back and forth, while Gohan and Videl are, I guess, shopping. And I don't know about for baby stuff or just shopping for funsies, but Piccolo went with them for some reason. I guess he's sort of like Pan's babysitter, which I think is I'm glad that it was Piccolo who did it because Piccolo, a lot of fans consider him to be like a surrogate father, and he was, Gohan's mentor. Um, and when you think of it from a family perspective, it almost kind of be like Grandpa, taking care of the baby for a little bit, which Goku also did in the ending of Dragon Ball's, like the actual ending, the part we haven't gotten to yet. And how this is going to match up with everything is, beyond me, which, at any rate, which I will note that this movie does actually take place before the quote-unquote end of Z era with Oob. As short as those, that one episode, 1 to 2 episodes were. And so, but then, like, Piccolo, he, like, senses something. Like, they can just barely sense it, I think. Which is kind of funny because, Sorbet and Tagoma, they agree that, like, it's better just to bring, like, one or two people because they can sense, like, major power levels. But even still, like, they kind of sense it, which I guess shows how powerful they were. And so they summon Shenron. He's like, state your wish. And Sorbet's like, bring Frieza back to life. And Shenron's all like, that's not a good idea because he's cut into pieces. Because, they bring up the whole thing about future Trunks cutting up Frieza. And so that's why he's like in pieces. And then Tagoma brings up the whole thing about like, well, we can rejuvenate his body and regenerate him using our technology. He's like, okay, bring him back anyway. That's not a good idea, but I'll do it anyway. And they show like the pieces of Frieza flying down. They tries to put himself back together and he just falls apart. And there's like, state your second wish. And then Sorbet's like, oh, well, we gotta do a second one. Oh, I didn't know we had. Like, what if we bring back King Cold? And I think the scene was a little bit extended from the clip that I saw on IGN of the scene. So I was almost kind of hoping they would reference Cooler. Especially because, the move, Battle of Gods referenced the Tarble thing. So it's not like every single non-anime or non-manga thing is like left out. It would be interesting to see what they do. But anyway, that's Super's a completely separate idea, even if it's technically not, if you've been watching it. But and then Shu or Shao, whatever the fuck his name is, whatever they want to call him, they address him as Shao in one scene. I don't know if it was a dub mistake or if the Japanese version, had that. I might actually watch the Japanese version as well, just for funsies, just to kind of compare, because there are some differences that I noticed based on what I have seen and what other people have said about the movie, who has seen both versions and happen to know Japanese. But Shu was all like, we wish for 10 million zenny. And it's funny because Shenron grants that wish, and it's like they just show like the money just kind of flap down. It's almost just like he just tossed the money. It's like, here. And then he's like, that's it. Goodbye, guys. And then Sorbet's like, you fuckers. And then Tagoma's like, no, don't. They might know we're here, which they already kind of do anyway, because once they summon Shenron, obviously, the sky darkens, and Piccolo, Videl, and Gohan picked up on that. And they're like, what the fuck? Someone summoned Shenron. What the fuck's going on? They don't actually drop the F-bomb. It'd be funny, but they don't. Anyway. So then, like, they put up Frieza's parts in, like, this little container thing. And Sorbet and Tagoma, they leave to kind of take the time to resurrect Frieza, quote-unquote. And they do a little montage of Frieza coming back with the Maximum of the Hormone song, which I'm glad they kept in. It's the Japanese version. Like, they didn't get Maximum of the Hormone to do an English version. I don't know if fans care. Personally, I would prefer to just have the Japanese sung music, because at this point, this kind of medium, like, I do feel like that Dragon Ball has kind of transcended the anime franchise, but it's still an anime-based franchise. Like, until we get, like, an American-made TV show. I mean, we already had the American-made movie. So we're just that. If we get like more American-made media, then like I feel like that would kind of also kind of help bring it to that level. And I feel like we're getting close to that anyway with the international with these international versions of all the stuff being made. But anyway, um, I liked them using it, and it kind of jumped into the song as well. Um, and personally, it's probably I've only heard two Maximum the Hormone songs, "What's Up People" from Death Note, and this song. And I actually like this one better because they are a heavy metal band, but this one it didn't sound like, I don't know. I guess they're a more controlled heavy metal band. I don't know. I'm probably thinking too much about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and their Let Me Hear from Parasite, where it's like, you know, but and of course, Emperor Pilaf is all like, "Let's go get some Mongolian." I thought the Mongolian mention was actually kind of funny. Um, I thought that was actually really funny for them to actually throw that in. Um, and so they bring Frieza back, and he's all like, "Sup, Frieza, I'm back." And he's like, "Sweet, now we can take over the world again, or take over the galaxy again." And Frieza's like, "No, I want to kill Goku. I want to get my revenge." And then it's like, "Oh, you want to get your revenge?" Like, "Yeah, I want to get my revenge on Goku, bitches." And Tagoma, he's all like, "Well, why don't you just forget about him, about the Saiyans? You know, why not just like focus on rebuilding the army and fucking shit up that way?" And of course, Frieza kills him. He's like, "Fuck you!" And he shoots another energy beam like beforehand, so he kind of determines that like his skills are rusty. And so he says, "Oh, I need to like freshen up and whatnot." It's like, "I'm gonna go kill Goku." And Sorbet mentions that Goku's gotten a lot stronger, and that he's beaten Majin Buu. And Frieza's like, "My dad said there were two people who I should never fight: Lord Beerus the Destroyer, also known as Kata Destruction Beerus, and Majin Buu." Which I found kind of, the Beerus thing I understood because Beerus did tell Frieza to destroy Planet Vegeta. Like, early on in Battle of Gods, Beerus is sort of established as sort of like this character who has kind of been part of the series, silently and invisible, and invisibly. I don't know if that's a word, but basically he's been part. Like, obviously he was created for Battle of Gods, like he didn't technically exist beforehand, but in terms of the lore, he's been around, you know. And I found, because, you know, they do show Majin Buu like destroying other planets and whatnot. I don't know. I guess I kind of saw him as being, since the Majin Buu arc is such a magical sort of arc. Magical as in like the terms of like magic, like, you know, magic, like elves and whatnot. Not like magic as in happiness, like magic as in like the RPG and medieval and fantasy thing. That I almost kind of saw Majin Buu as being a more spiritual anime, and I was under the impression. I guess at that point that would mean that it's implied then that Majin Buu started off doing planets, but he eventually got to the Kai's world. But I don't know. That'd be interesting to kind of study the series a bit, or see if we could get more from the series in that kind of landscape, I guess. I don't know. Basically, I found it, like, myself, and I know other fans have also been thinking about this. It's weird that Frieza is aware of Majin Buu. I think it's cool because I kind of saw Majin Buu as being sort of like, kind of like Beerus, where like he's this ancient evil that everyone knows about, that like if he comes back, oh no. But I don't know. Beerus seemed to be on a larger scale, since with him being a god. But anyway, so it's like, oh, Goku defeated Majin Buu. He's like, oh, he defeated Majin Buu. Well, I need to really get strong then. I'll just spend the next 4 months training and get super, super swole. Swole as fuck. He doesn't actually say swole as fuck. He uses a big word, and I forget what it is. It's like something with an S. Someone remind me in the comments. Anyway. And so, like, they do, like, it's like a slight time skip in a way. They don't show Frieza training or anything. They do. They show him like rising up and like he starts glowing with like that purple aura. So my initial impression of that was that he was doing more like mental training, and because of that, I could kind of understand why he would be able to get strong so quickly because he's probably training more than just his muscles. Though later scenes make it sound like he just trained and trained and like he did more than just like he just really like went all out on training. He rushed definitely, and they bring that up a bit, but that flashes forward a little bit, and Jocko the Galactic Patrolman is coming by, and he's all like, "Hey, I'm looking for Bulma, my old friend, and Tights, your Tights' sister." They mentioned that as well, which I liked that. I imagine it was done in a way to where like you kind of had to have read Jocko the Galactic Patrolman to get that reference. I wouldn't be surprised if some people were angry, like, what? Bulma had a sister named Tights? And she's a sci-fi novelist? I didn't know this shit. Why did you explain it? Well, they did, just not in the movie. They explained it in the manga, which I've reviewed, so go watch that review. But watch this one, too. And he's like, I'm looking for the guy who defeated Frieza, because Frieza's coming back, bitches. And Bulma's like, oh fuck, I need to let friggin' Goku know. I got a little scared because my computer blacked out because I'm spending so much time talking. But at any rate, and then they show up that Goku and Vegeta are both training with Whis in sort of like the godly area. And my initial impression, it kind of sounded like that they were just there for like a quick lesson, and they had only been there for like a day. But it's later clarified in like the same scene that they had actually been, or the same at that same part, I guess. I don't know if it's necessarily the same scene, but it's stated that they have been training there for a while, so they've been training with Whis, and Whis is all like, "I'm gonna criticize you guys. Okay, here you go. You guys overthink too much. You need to react more," which I'm actually glad they put it that way, because when I read the spoilers, they sort of worded it the other way. They made it sound like that Whis was saying, "Oh, you guys don't think enough. You need to use your mind more," which I felt like would have been so against Goku and Vegeta's progress at that point, because I mean, yeah, they do tend to sort of like think a lot. Vegeta in particular, I feel like is not a very what's the word? Like he thinks a lot. He's not the kind of person who's going to like you go by instinct and be like, he's not going to be the kind of character who's going to like jump in and be like, "Vegeta, no." I mean, he did do that a little bit, but it was more in reaction out of anger. So it was like, it was more like an out of character moment anyway. And then, he talks, we just like, "Oh, Vegeta, you're too tense. You need to relax more. Oh, Goku, you're too relaxed. You need to tense the fuck up. No, you need to tighten up a little bit. If you guys work together, it'd be pretty bamf of you guys to do real good." Don't take these quotes for word. They don't talk that way, or else I'd probably have Goku say, "Well, fuck people," or something. I don't know. He, that's sort of what they, that's what he says, and I thought that was kind of nice because it kind of gives the characters a little bit of chance to grow, or it gives them the opportunity to grow a little. Because I feel like most people, like who study stories, will be like, okay, they're gonna be like, "I understand now," then they'll defeat the enemy. I kind of like the way they did it in this movie, especially for Goku. And Bulma's trying to call Whis by like, here's some cake, you want it? And I like the way they kind of describe it as if he like missed like a Skype call or even just a phone call. I thought that kind of added a bit of humor to it. And Beerus wakes up and he's all like, "I want pizza." He doesn't, but like Whis offers him pizza. He's like, "Pizza." One funny line from Vegeta is like, Beerus is eating the pizza. And he's like, "What's this creamy stuff that drips off?" And like Whis like, "Oh, jeez, what is it?" I know it starts with the scene. Vegeta's like, "It's cheese." Like, the way he puts it is funny. Everyone kind of laughed. So Goku and Vegeta are kind of off doing their own thing, and They're kind of on like a different like plane, not a plane of I guess plane of existence technically. They're in like a different like area, so they can't really feel what's going on. And so Piccolo and Gohan, they kind of already know. Krillin, he's told he's actually a police officer now, and they show him stopping some thugs, and Bulma calls him on his cell phone, and his ringtone is funny. Like, I heard about this in like some other podcast episodes that Kanzenshuu did, till I listened to them, and they kept saying like, oh, it's really funny. I wasn't expecting. I was almost expecting them to do like a throwback to Krillin's character song that Mayumi Tanaka sang. It's like the do 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 do. That song. I'm sure you could probably find it somewhere. I don't know if it's been used in the series at all. I'd have to check. I don't know, but instead they actually use an instrumental ringtone version of "We Are," the first One Piece theme. Which, for those who don't get that, Mayumi Tanaka is the Japanese voice actor for Luffy as well as Krillin. So that was the joke there. I mean, obviously it doesn't really hold as much water in the English dub, though. I believe Sonny Strait, the English voice actor for Krillin, I think he does Usopp, if I'm not mistaken, in the Funimation dub. I think that's it. I'm not entirely sure. But basically Krillin gets the word there, and he starts getting ready, and then Android 18's like, can I go with you? No, I'm technically stronger. And then Krillin's like, no, you need to stay here to friggin' take care of our daughter and take poops when you need to. Like, but can you shave my head? I want to go old school. So he shaves her. She shaves his head. I've been playing too much Lifeline. I get tongue-tied a little too much. Fucking tongue twisters. Anyway, so and then he's like, thanks, honey, I'll be back. And after he leaves, 18's like, he's so cool. I like that. I kind of like seeing Android 18 kind of warm up a little bit more to Krillin. I know they're married, and it's like, even in the Boo saga, like, you could tell that they were like they loved each other and they were happy together. And that Android 18 was a little more relaxed and good guide, good guide. Next time you want to say someone turned good, you say they good guide. And if they turned evil, you say they bad guide. But anyway. And I don't remember how Tien gets word of it, but he's also there. Yeah, he gets word somehow. I imagine Krillin probably told him. And so they all freeze after like the 4 months. This is like after the 4 months. Freeza, he has like this big army now. He comes out, he lands on Earth, and he destroys quote unquote North City. And then Tien's like, you motherfucker. That might have been the way he found out. He might have been of course he can sense the energy, so. And so they all kind of, they being Gohan, Piccolo, who are the first two to get there, and then Krillin, Master Roshi, Kame Sennin, the friggin' Muten Roshi-sama shows up. And I'm only saying his Japanese name for more emphasis. Master Kame's, I would probably translate it, but no, Master Roshi, he's there as well, and then Krillin's there. Jocko shows up to help as well, a little, even though he doesn't want to, and Krillin's there. Oh, and Tien's there. I already said Krillin. Tien's there, so it's basically Gohan, Piccolo, Tien, Krillin, Master Roshi, and Jocko. And even in like the previews, they showed Master Roshi, and I'm like, that's so cool. That's badass that he's there. Like, that's so cool. Like, that's probably one of the coolest things of this movie, seeing him kick ass again. That was so badass. And Tien mentions, like, I didn't bring Chaozu or Yamcha because they probably wouldn't be able to handle the fight. And Gohan says, I didn't tell Goten or Trunks because, he basically says they would have been like too rash or brash or whatever, and they would have like challenged Frieza to a duel. Like they would have been too quick thinking, I guess, or not quick thinking, but sort of like they wouldn't think enough, I guess. I don't know I've been forgetting words lately. I think I'm slowly going insane. But basically it's not a good. He said it wasn't a good idea for Goten and Trunks to come here. For Yamcha's case, I find it interesting because they're when you think about it, it's like, well, for a typical dub fan, it'd be like, you brought Krillin, even though he's technically the strongest human. But of course, there's a lot of thing about that. Krillin, on one hand, he got that boost from on Namek and whatnot, and he's Goku's best friend. So if anyone would be the strongest human, it would make sense story wise for him to be it. On the other hand, Tien was more serious with his training. He's beaten Goku before, at a later state. I don't know I think Krillin also beat Goku. No, they never fought. And he's technically not a human. It's like it doesn't even really matter. I feel like this movie kind of put both Krillin and Tien on sort of like a similar pedestal. Like they were among the strongest fighters, and I found it interesting because they were kind of saying that Yamcha wasn't, which I was kind of sad about because I actually really like Yamcha. He's probably one of my favorites. Of course, I like Tien as well. I really like everyone, but I thought it would have been nice, and Goten and Trunks would have been nice as well. I don't know. They might have thought one reason they might have not thrown them in was probably because they didn't want to design teenage versions of them. Because every character at least gets a new outfit. Like obviously Piccolo, he doesn't change, but everyone gets kind of new outfits, and Gohan in particular, he changes as well. In general design, I actually like his design in this movie. I thought he looked kind of cool. And it's funny, he wears the green tracksuit because he didn't have time to find his gi. And I feel like that kind of showed that martial arts is sort of not really part of his focus anymore. I've been wanting to write a thing or do a thing, some sort of study on Gohan's wardrobe throughout the entire series, because I feel like out of all the characters, he probably has the most dynamic and most symbolic wardrobe. But yeah, I felt like the green tracksuit kind of showed that he wasn't as interested in fighting as much. I feel like he might be going more towards the I'm kind of done fighting. Because with the Majin Buu stuff, it's yeah, he was in school, but he also did the martial arts, and he was just trying to learn. But I feel like later on, he's kind of getting closer towards the I don't fight as much. I feel like we're kind of getting more towards the the part of the story where Gohan doesn't fight as much. So that's why they explained it then. Master Roshi, he's cool too. But anyway, so that's they explain why some of those characters aren't there. So I give the movie. It still would have been nice to see some of these other characters. I don't really particularly care about Goten or Trunks as much as I did Yamcha, because I feel like this was the perfect time to bring out some of these older characters, and they did. They brought out borderline the bare minimum, because Master Roshi's there. Truthfully, only a couple characters were really missing. Yamcha 18, or I guess 4. Yamcha 18, Goten, Trunks, and Majin Buu. Hercule probably it would have been interesting to see Hercule fight some of these. I'll get more into the possibility in the actual review section of that later on, but basically a big battle gets out, and they're all fighting. They pretty much beat up all of Frieza's soldiers. Frieza decides, I'm just going to kill them all. Shisami fights. He does a bit of damage, but Gohan defeats him. I'll get more into the little details later on. And then, Frieza, he knocks out Gohan. I think they did that to kind of show how powerful Frieza was. I'll get more into that later. I know I keep saying we'll get more into that later, but I promise. And then Goku and Vegeta show up. Goku and Frieza, they duke it out. Goku is beating up Frieza. Frieza decides to go into his final form from the start because he knows how powerful Goku is. Goku still beats him up. And they're like, you're holding back. It's yeah, you're holding back too. And so Goku goes into his Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan form, which is the blue Super Saiyan. Then Frieza goes into his Golden Frieza form. They duke it out. They kind of trade off a little bit with Goku beating him, then Frieza beating him, then Frieza beating Goku, and then Goku beating Frieza. But then they do a thing where it's where Vegeta's I want to fight now. It's my turn. It's kind of funny how the threat is sort of underplayed a little bit with Frieza, because they treat it like, oh, it's a game, I want to take my turn. And like Goku's like, but I figured out his weakness, like. And of course, it turns out that Frieza literally like stopped training and came to Earth as soon as he discovered this new form. And it turns out that like, it's kind of like a typical thing. Like his body isn't used to it, so he's using up a lot of energy, and so like he can just get tired out. But then, as Goku's about to finish off Frieza, he gets shot by Sorbet's little ray thing, and they kind of hint at that a little bit, that like it was sort of like a backup plan, like before they reach Earth, they're all Frieza's like, okay, you know what you're gonna do if I end up losing? He's like, yeah, I know. It's like, okay, good. So they kind of like do like a little trickery there, and of course Beerus and Whis show up during the fight to watch, which freaks out Frieza a little bit, and he's all like, yeah, you're not gonna help Goku. And he's like, no, I'm not taking sides. I'm just gonna watch. It's like, you're not gonna take part at all. And both Goku and Frieza kind of show they're a little intimidated by Beerus at the least. Goku, I feel like shouldn't, even if Beerus wasn't using his full power when they fought. But I feel like he did some damage to Beerus a little bit. Like it's not like they were going a little toe to toe. I mean, I think it's still kind of implied, or shown rather, that Beerus is kind of still would have technically won. I don't know, but anyway, and so like Goku gets he gets like almost killed after getting the ray shot, and like Frieza is just like kicking him, and you hear Goku crying in agony. And Frieza also does this thing like, oh, you were overconfident. He kind of reinstates what Whis says, which I think was actually a good touch. And then Vegeta comes in, and then it's like Frieza's like, oh, why don't you take the final blow, Vegeta? I know you hate him. He's like, no, I don't want to. Well, why don't you kill him? And then you'll Drama Team be like, no, I don't want to. And this, I kind of knew he would say. I was a little worried that they would pull a fast one on me, because again, the Japanese cast would be like, oh wait, it's going this way. Like they really hyped it up as like having a lot of twists to it. So I feel like it would have been safe to wonder and question like, oh, is he really going to kill Goku? But of course he doesn't. He turns into the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. Then he's like beating up Frieza, and he's about to kill him, but then Frieza like pushes down on like part of the Earth and like cracks it, and makes the entire thing like blow up. Like he reaches the core, the entire place is like blown up, and then it's like, oh no! And several of the good guys were saved. Vegeta wasn't. And then Goku's like, this is all my fault. I should have finished him off when I had the chance. And then Whis like, yeah, you should have. So you want to give that a try? It's like, wait, what? Earlier in the movie, Whis establishes this little thing that has where you can like roll back time for like a little bit, and to like undo any of like Beerus's like damage. And then he's like, okay, you want to do this, Goku? And he's like, oh, okay. And so they do this, and they go back to when Vegeta's about to like kill Frieza, and Frieza's about to like destroy the world or the planet. Then Goku jumps in and shoots like a big Kamehameha at Frieza, who's now been knocked down to like his non-golden form after Vegeta like beat the crap out of him. And that kills him. Frieza's like, oh, what the fuck, man? I wanted to kill him. And that's how they, save the day. And it's all like, they're all like, yay, good job. And like they kind of have like a little like after fight sort of like chill time a little bit. Like they're all kind of talking a little bit. And it kind of ends with sort of like, Goku and Vegeta sort of like being like, if we did work together, we said that there wouldn't be anyone to stop us. Maybe we should try it sometime. And Vegeta's like, no. And then Goku's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. He's like, yeah, we agree on something. And then of course the ending credits, which plays an English version of Vow of Z, which they call Pledge of Z, sung by Momohiro Clover Z, and it's sung in English with subtitles that look like text from like the PSP. which I found kind of funny because it's like, if you're gonna sub it anyway, you might as well just throw in the Japanese version. I think they might have done it. I don't know if they were asked to or if they just wanted to for the funsies. I'm not sure. They were probably asked to, knowing. I'm sure there was an article, news report talking about how like there was going to be an English version. I think it's actually on iTunes for those who want to download it. But yeah. And then after the credits, it shows Frieza back in that little place again, except his body is fully formed. So I don't know. I guess his body goes with him. I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know. That's actually a confusing bit. Personally, I probably would have just had him be in pieces, like with just one of his eyes showing. And you just kind of hear him like in his thoughts being upset. But yeah, that's the story side of things. Now it's time for the actual review part where I say what I liked and what I didn't like. Obviously this movie was dubbed, and I thought the dub was really good. It's at Kai level to where it's really accurate to the original. The acting's good, and, the little bit of swearing they put in, it's there. Characters say, damn, Vegeta calls Goku a bastard at one point. That's all good. Chris Ayers as Frieza was really good. I feel like this was probably his best role, or his best performance as Frieza. Just because of the way he talked. His dialogue was really, really good. Like, I think I said it before, I don't remember. But, for example, when Goku's powering up to fight him, he's like, after Frieza's gone to his final form, he's like, why don't you show me that Super Saiyan glow? As opposed to just saying, why don't you turn Super Saiyan? Goku says, I don't think I need it. And then Frieza's all like, oh, that's fine, And he says, like, the black-haired Goku's pelt will look just as good. Instead of just saying, your head in your normal form will do me just as well. Like, the fact that he uses the term pelt, I actually liked that. Like, they really worked with Frieza's language to make him seem more menacing and evil, and I really liked the way he was written. And Meredith McCoy came back for Android 18. All the actors that were in Battle of Gods returned, and it was pretty good. On the subject of the dub, though, I do want to note that with the whole explanation of Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, I liked kind of the way they did it in the dub, because in the Japanese version, from what I read, Goku basically just says it's basically Super Saiyan for Super Saiyan gods, whereas in the dub he just kind of makes note of the whole Super Saiyan God thing and just knows that he's kind of tapped into it. And I feel like that was a good way to explain it, that he's really just tapping into Super Saiyan God. He's not really doing anything other than that. And I guess then the red Super Saiyan God with the red hair and whatnot, I guess that's sort of like the true form. I think that's kind of cool, though. I hope they do more with the design in particular. But yeah, that is actually one thing that I liked about the dub. And of course, I don't know if this is exclusive to the dub, but early on I liked how Mai made reference to Trunks being her boyfriend. I kind of like that. I like that Trunks has a little Trunks has a little. Obviously, yeah. Goten is Trunks' boyfriend. Technically, we all know. No, I'm kidding. I thought that was funny. I wonder if they're actually going to get serious and Mai's like, Trunks, there's something I need to tell you. I'm actually a 40-year-old woman trapped in a child's body, and then it's like, I am too. And Future Trunks just pops out, and he's like, I love you, honey. No. But I thought that was kind of funny. My favorite scenes were I really just liked the big battle between all the Frieza soldiers and the good guys. The choreography was excellent. Like when they showed Piccolo doing all those kicks, like he did sort of like that stepped kick where he did sort of like the kick where he switched with his feet. He did thing where he crossed his arms and he did two upward kicks. kind of like he's doing some weird step thing. I thought that was really cool. There's one scene where Tien, like the fusion dance, the Ha part where they have their hands kind of extended like that. Uh, Tien did something kind of cool like that, where he'd kind of punch an enemy like that, except his fingers were extended. I thought that was really cool. It looked really Shaolin and very like monkish. And all the fights were cool. Everyone's moves were just really cool. Even Shisami, when he punches Piccolo at one point, he has a very modern martial arts kickboxing punch that he did, where he extended his arm and he had one of his other arms like kind of upped and sort of like a defensive. I don't know. It just looked really cool. And at one point, Goku did what looked like a 1-inch punch to Frieza when he was in his Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan form, and that was really cool. And that was something AJ pointed out. And it was really cool. And seeing Master Roshi come in and beating everyone up, that was really cool. Like, seeing Tien fight was okay. I think just because he, like, if they were to bring in, like, if they need to bring in other characters besides just all the Saiyans, obviously, like, Piccolo and Tien are definitely ones they would have brought. But bringing Master Roshi, I thought that was really cool. It was really it was just cool, really cool seeing him fight everyone. It's kind of makes you wonder how strong he actually is if he's able to fight these soldiers. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. I mean, it's clear he's actually pretty strong, and obviously he's not as strong as Goku or Vegeta or anyone. He was probably the weakest person there, but it was still kind of cool to see him. Do all that fighting. And Gohan, I thought, did really cool. Like, again, like, they kind of build him up as being like not as strong as he was, and because of that, I thought like he was considered to be one of the weaker ones. To me, I just kind of saw it as more fodder, more ammunition that Goku was actually the strongest Saiyan and not Gohan. I know a lot of people like to argue that Gohan's the strongest, but that ain't true. Anyway, and he did some cool like stuff. Like, he did like the pressure point attacks where he tried to like avoid killing anyone. I thought that was cool. And one thing that I thought was kind of cool was when Piccolo was fighting Shisami and he was like the toughest soldier, Piccolo was having some trouble with him. Gohan came in, he's like, Piccolo's like, "No, this is my fight, Gohan." Then Gohan's like, we can't risk anything, and he like goes friggin' Super Saiyan 2. I think it was probably Super Saiyan 2, or probably his regular Super Saiyan. And he just like punches him in the Shisami once and like knocks him out. And I feel like they were trying to say that like Gohan was still the strongest character in that group at the moment. And that he still is sort of like one of the strongest characters in general, probably like the third strongest Saiyan. Like, I feel like that's probably where he was at. But then of course there's that scene where I talk about where Frieza came in, like, just punched Gohan in the stomach and knocked him out. I kind of liked that they did that because it's a very visual way of showing that, yes, Frieza is an actual threat. And they keep saying, he's at a different league. They keep talking about how he's stronger, and they don't really show how he got stronger, but it doesn't really matter. Like, the point is he's stronger now. And that was really my favorite scenes. And there was a lot of tension there. Like, when I saw Piccolo get like knocked out, they started showing the other characters like still fighting everybody, and they kind of did a thing where it's just like they were winning, but they were also getting like really tired, and they were like about to lose because they were just getting like really worn out. And like they even showed like Krillin just kind of taking a breather. I just thought it was. And that was the moment where it was like, oh, wait, are they actually going to like do a thing where they all get beaten up and then Goku comes in and saves the day or something? Of course, that's not the case. But I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Like, that was probably one of the best. That kind of made the movie for me, honestly. Like, personally, I wasn't as interested in the Goku and Frieza fight as much as I was in the fight with everyone in Frieza's Warriors. I almost kind of wish that Tagoma was still alive. I thought it would have been interesting to see him, like, maybe see Shisami fight Piccolo and then Gohan fight Tagoma. I think that would have been awesome. because we didn't really get to see Tagoma do much. I mean, I know they had to like kill off someone to show how ruthless Frieza is, but I feel like most people know. And so I don't know that I'm not saying that I wasn't really dissatisfied with it, and I definitely enjoyed it, but I do think they could have done a little bit more, if not just on the grounds of including Yamcha, even if he was like the first person to like get tired and be like, I don't want to fight anymore, then like fine. As long as he did something. Or with Tagoma, I feel like he was kind of wasted potential in a way. I get why they chose to kill him off, but I felt like they should have kept him because he was kind of short-lived. Like even Sorbet kind of makes it to like near the end. He gets ultimately killed by Vegeta deflecting one of Frieza's blasts right at him, or like not right at him, but like probably directly. It kind of looked indirect, but it was probably direct. Let's see what else. What else did I like? I guess I can't really think of. I think I've covered everything. Like the music was actually really cool. It kind of had a more it was a stronger music choice. I think Norihito Sumitomo I did a good job. There was one they did reuse one song from Battle of the Gods. It's like that down 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 down, and of course he reused that song in the Buu Saga of Kai as well. So that might be a mainstay. Like we might end up having like a movie soundtrack. No, it might have just been easy. I mean, I don't think and they have an instrumental version of F by Maximum the Hormone that was pretty cool during like the big fight. I don't know. I thought it was. I can't really think of anything else I can say. I've had to take several breaks while recording this, and I've redone this review like a million times. So I don't think I'm missing anything. I guess overall, I liked the movie a lot. I'd probably even go as far to say it's probably my second favorite Dragon Ball movie, if not my third, because I really liked BoJack, even if the premise is a little weird. And of course, I really like Cooler. The Cooler movie is probably my all-time favorite, even if like only a handful of my favorite characters are in it, and not even a handful. Like really, Goku and Krillin and Piccolo are like the only ones of my favorite characters who are in it besides Cooler. So at least maybe like second or third, depending on. Like, I might have to rewatch BoJack before I like. It's definitely higher up on the list, and that's a good thing, I guess. The main reason why I liked it is because I really enjoy the comedy aspect of Dragon Ball and like the over-the-topness of it, but what I really enjoy of Dragon Ball is the hand-to-hand combat, which I feel like the series kind of lost a little bit in the series. That Battle of Gods brought back, but I feel like this movie, it really brought in the hand-to-hand combat like full-on, like the action. I felt like it really did a good job, and because the actions, because like the charm and the story and the character, like they're gonna give that to me anyway. Like anyone who wants that, who just wants to see these characters doing stuff, like you're gonna get that anyway. So I feel like obviously they were gonna give it to me. The humor could have been a little stronger. I think it almost did sort of seem like it was catered more to us a little bit. It had a little bit of the humor, but it was still mainly action, and it was a more serious movie, I think. But I really, really liked it. Only thing about it, I do wish they had thrown in at least Yamcha. I don't particularly care about Goten or Trunks. Trunks would have been interesting a little bit just on the grounds of Frieza seeing Trunks be like, "You're the one who killed me. You're smaller though. What the fuck?" And then like maybe him figuring out that the Trunks who killed him was from the future. That would be cool. Or even if they do a thing to where like he looks a little older, like he looks more like the other like a little older, because I know in Super they have him being a little taller. I don't know. I really would have just liked to see Yamcha. and maybe Majin Buu. Hercule would have been interesting as well, if not solely because of the fact that they had Master Roshi. Android 18, I didn't really care about. Like, I don't know. I felt like it kind of did pretty well, and it was definitely a really entertaining movie. I also find it a little confusing how Frieza knew Majin Buu, just on the grounds that, well, one, because of the fact that that one bit that I mentioned before was filler. So obviously there's no way for him to know that Goku killed him, much less like know him. It's like, so I don't know. That makes me wonder how much of a galactic threat Majin Buu really was, and I think that's something that hasn't really been touched on. Frieza's golden form, it was a little lackluster, I'll admit, just to be kind of critical, because it really is just his final form, just kind of touched up. I feel like symbolically it works well, because the whole golden thing, it's kind of him showing that like he's not afraid of Super Saiyan anymore. He's more, and when he gets like really upset after, it's mainly that he's getting upset because he's losing, and not that he's scared of Super Saiyan anymore. So he actually so Frieza technically grew as a character a little bit. The designs for the characters who had updated designs I thought were really cool. I liked how Vegeta was wearing sort of like a Saiyan armor-like outfit, but it looked more like he was just wearing like an approximation, and it kind of looked cool. And Goku's I thought was kind of cool as well, with his new gi. Gohan, I liked his design. I actually liked his short hair design personally. I think he looks cool. Krillin going back to the bald, I thought was cool. Tien, I thought was a nice design. I feel like if they were gonna do Yamcha, they probably would have had him just like wear his Dr. Slump cosplay outfit. That is one more thing I wanted to talk about. Even though this is a long review, I'm sorry about that, but it's a Dragon Ball. You have to expect that. I did notice some other like the first thing we see like with the fairies, like I did see some I think they're called the Gachamons or something, or the Gachans or something. These fairies from like Dr. Slump. I think they were in it. I'm not sure. One very clear reference though. One of Frieza's soldiers was a frog, and he looked a hell of a lot like Frog from Chrono Trigger. I think I'm almost positive that was a frog reference. Like, cause like Akira Toriyama wouldn't like. I feel like it's such a distinct frog design that I feel like obviously it's Frog from Chrono Trigger. And also I think when Jocko was fighting some of the soldiers, like a giant sea monster comes out and eats them. I think that might have been another sea monster shark. I think that might have just been a reference to Jocko, because I'm pretty sure the only one was killed. But anyway, overall, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10, because I really liked it. I liked the action. It kind of gave me what I wanted from Dragon Ball. Like, to an extent, I still like I do like the humor side of things, but I also like the hand-to-hand combat, so I'm glad they gave us more of that. And the CGI scenes weren't terrible. They mainly stood out during the Goku and Frieza fight, but let's see. And I would have liked to see a couple more extra characters. I think it would have been nice to see sort of Hercule do some. I know obviously they won't. I mean, there is Dragon Ball Super, which I don't want to give too much away for that review, but that does seem like they're trying to give us a little bit of an alternate version of the movies, like they're doing stuff. And we don't know if it's canon or not. It may be. I'm not sure. And they may just have done that just to kind of make it a little different, so that people who've seen both movies don't feel like they're watching the same thing. But I don't. It's a different subject, I suppose. But yeah, I really like this movie, and my throat's kind of hurting because I've been talking so much. But yeah, thanks for watching. Go watch this movie if you get the chance to, or buy it on DVD. I know I will. It'll probably be like AWA where it's there early. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.